What's good, everyone? Shura here, bringing you guys a Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains review for episode 14. Definitely a much better episode than episode 13. You guys all know how much I hated that. If you guys watched my previous review, if you haven't, I'll leave it on the end screen for you, of course. But it was definitely a better episode, obviously. The duel was okay. I'll obviously get into the more in-depth chronologically, go through what happened in the episode and stuff. So first up, so the episode started on Emma's face, and I was just like, her again. I already hate it. Not really. I didn't really already hate it, but yeah, it started on her face again. It was just her hacking into soul technologies and stuff, pretty generic. And they did two more flashbacks, and I seriously think they're trolling at this point, where she just flashed back to two scenes that were already shown in the previous episode as flashbacks, I believe. So it was just kind of funny. I was just like, oh, they're trolling. I'm just going to do another flashback episode. But I obviously knew they won't. But that was another funny thing that happened. And I was obviously happy that she couldn't access the info because of the data storm that appeared. She wanted to create a backdoor into Soul Technologies and learn about the incident that happened 10 years ago, but the data storm stopped her. So I was just like, yes, she can't go and sell more bloody private information to other people. So then going away from the topic of Emma hacking into Soul Technologies, we have the idiot woman at the beginning with Akira that was saying, oh, are you attracted to me? You're asking for my private info or something. I found that funny. Definitely there was a few funny things in this episode, but the kind of interaction between them two, I did like that. Kind of showed some of the workers in Soul Technologies, because they just seem like these generic random characters. At least we got something about one of them. At least it just kind of added a bit more comedy to the episode, let's put it like that. And then obviously we learn that Akira has been demoted, so he's no longer the top guy in Soul Technology. I don't know what they called it, I can't remember right now, but he's one of the chiefs now and somebody else has replaced him. So I felt sorry for him. Obviously he doesn't seem to care too much. He said, I'm happy that Aoi's fine and everything, so at least that shows he doesn't care too much about his job, or maybe his money decreased or something. His salary's obviously decreased if he's not the top guy working there anymore, but as long he seems pretty happy that Aoi's back now and everything's fine. So he didn't take it too much to heart. I felt a bit sorry for him. I thought he didn't really do too much bad things. He did torture Playmaker, which I was hating on him originally, and then I realized, well, he is a bit off his head a bit right now, because obviously his sister was in a coma. And I found it ironic, this is another one of the funnier bits, when Emma said that Soul Tech are heartless, because in my previous review I called her heartless. That was the biggest thing I used to describe her. But the fact that she said that is very important, because this could imply about how bad Soul Tech actually are. Because if you have a horrible character like Emma who sells people's private information that has affected their lives, selling information about Aoi being in a coma and all that, then and she's calling Soul Technologies heartless, that does support my theory that Soul Technologies are in fact the true antagonists of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, and I will stick with that theory, because them chess pieces are evil. Seriously, they are actually evil. And then here's another really funny bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode 14. Obviously there has been quite a few, as I mentioned before, but it's this line from Emma: I have no interest in men without power or money. That 100% sums up her character perfectly. Seriously, that line, I just saw it and I was just like, dang, you are a... so you know what I was gonna say then, but obviously no cursing in video because Snowflake knows that as well. But yeah, she is actually savage. So that was so sad. I have no interest in men without power or money, after Akira demanded for that information that she was trying to hack into. But yeah, that was I found that bit really funny. I was just like, bloody hell, that's effective. And then here's another really funny thing. It just seems like the episode of for the event, but it's the robot scene. That was bloody hilarious. Seriously, I seriously wonder how the dubs are gonna handle this. I highly doubt they'll keep it and keep the original implications, but it's probably just gonna be some random stuff. But it's happened one time previously and two times in this episode, and the fact is it's so explicitly obvious. It's ooh, right there, so nice. Seriously, I don't know what the animators are thinking right now, not the animators, the writers are thinking right now when they're deciding to put this kind of stuff in. But at least it kind of adds a bit more comedy to the episode. We've had a lot of comedy in this, and that's why I'm pretty happy after watching this episode. It was getting a bit dead for a while, and then a few more funny things went in. I was just like, yeah, this is a good episode. And then the burden from the two news reporters, I personally think this is a thing I have that I don't like too much about the episode. I think that they waste too much time. Like, they do get quite a bit of screen time whenever it's dual videos, not dual videos, thinking about my channel right now, when it's ever dual episodes. So yeah, they get a lot of screen time where they're just kind of having this conversation between each other and acting like idiots. They were funny at first, like their kind of interactions with each other, but it got annoying really quick. Obviously it's not too much of a big deal for me, but every minute does count when you're getting 20 minutes of content from the, well, not content, you're getting 20 minutes of video. Seriously, I need to stop thinking about YouTube right now. I think I should take a break. But yeah, 20 minutes of VRains in a week. So, and then Yusaku smiled. This is another good bit, and I loved his line when he was replying to the AI saying, "Why don't humans learn from experience?" And Yusaku smiled, and that's like the first time you've seen him like actually happy in like in one of the episodes, because most of the time he's like this really grim character who's just like, I want revenge, I don't care about anybody. But he said because humans can feel things instead of learning them, and that was a really good answer. It was a very effective line, much better than his normal 1, 2, 3. That kind of gets a bit drawn out if he's going to do it every episode. But yeah, but I do like the 1, 2, 3 thing, don't get me wrong, obviously. They went into a speed duel, and I would have preferred a master duel, because speed duels have always been like a bit slower paced, and I don't really like that much. And the first player's turn, each of theirs are always really mediocre, like they barely do anything. And it's the same case in this episode where Emma literally summons a monster, sets 2 cards, and then what Playmaker or Yusaku does is he summons Cyberburst Wizard and attacks, and that's all he does. Like seriously, the first 2 turns were mediocre, and the first 2 turns did take up quite a bit of the episode time, but obviously it's not too much of a bad thing. Obviously speed duels do like get really do pace up. I think that you guys understand what I mean. They do get quicker, the pace does increase later on, but the first 2 turns are always a bit mediocre, and that's why I would have preferred if it was a master duel. And Emma, there's a different way Link summon. Normally they just like put their hand up and the circuit appears on top of them and they fly into it. Emma made the circuit appear below her, so that was a nice change. It was getting a bit like repetitive, like Revolver did it like that, Aoi did it like that, Go did it like that, Playmaker did it like that. So I think it's really good that Emma has a different way of doing it, because it's obviously a change and we don't like seeing the same thing over and over again. And here's another bit thing that I didn't like about the episode. It's like in the same thing, everybody's so surprised when a new character links summons. Like the AI was like, oh, she can link summon as well. People need to stop, it's common now. Like there's no need for that line. It's just a waste of like a few seconds. Like there's no need for that line. It doesn't add anything. We all know, yeah, we expected her to link summon. Everybody watching the episode knows she's going to link summon because it's VRains. That's literally what they do, link summon. And I was obviously happy that she sped up the pace, as I said before, because we don't like slow duels. With a couple of special summons, so then she link summoned, special summoned 2 more monsters using cassette cards, because I was getting a bit bored after the 2 turns, because there wasn't too much funny dialogue at that time, which would make them 2 turns like good or good to watch. And then here's one of the funniest bit. I would probably call this the funniest bit of the episode, even funnier than the robot scene. But she said, why does everyone want this dumb AI when the AI is like, oh, she miscalculated, she's not going to beat us. She's making me hate her a little less right now, because that line was hilarious. And the best thing is, in this episode is comedy, as I've said so many times. But I wrote this down because the way I do my reviews is I'll watch the episode, have something up next to me and like kind of type it like, okay, this is kind of like my script or whatever, because I do need a script for this, because I can't remember anything and it'd be all over the place if I don't do it in order. But I had that up and I wrote, the best thing in this episode is the comedy, and I was like, that's a bit of a stretch though. But then Yusaku proved me right. AI started getting mad when she called him dumb, and Yusaku said, don't get angry when she's telling the truth. That line was perfect. I was just like, no, the comedy bit is not a stretch at all. That line was absolutely perfect. The AI just seriously just got savaged by Emma and then Playmaker, and Playmaker's supposed to be on his side. So that was really, really cool. I really did like that. So the next thing is, we're rounding off to the end of the review now, but this is a big thing. So Emma was coming in for her last attack saying, okay, I'm going to beat Playmaker, I'm going to get the AI. The bird and the frog were saying, oh, he's lost, the first time Playmaker's lost. And I really expected Yusaku to say his signature line, Sore wa Dukana, which means, are you sure? I was just chanting it. I was like, come on, Sore wa Dukana, say it. Just kept on chanting for like the 2-minute gap where they were just exchanging conversation, where Emma was just going on off on her speech saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to beat Playmaker, attack and all that. I really expected him to just lift his head up, because as you can see on the screen right now, he kind of had his head down and his eyes weren't shown. I really expected him to lift his head up and be like, sorry about Dukana, because that is actually the best line he even says. It's just like, yes, now he's going to turn the duel. So I really did like that. Not like, I really do like that scene, but I think it was wasn't the best idea to not include that line in the ending, but it's fine. It would have been an amazing ending. Hopefully he'll say it next episode. If he doesn't say it next episode, I might have to mention that in my review next week. And then the preview, because we always talk a little bit about the preview, but unfortunately there was literally nothing to talk about. The only thing I want to mention is it was a bit dumb that they left the episode on an ending that made it look like Playmaker was going to lose, because it was just like Emma was saying all this stuff and then Playmaker looked like he was kind of dead. He did lift his head up, but he didn't say anything. So they won't make it out like, oh, Playmaker's going to lose like they always do. But then the preview showed him doing more turns, so obviously when you know he is going to survive from that attack, so it definitely would have been much better if he had ended the episode by saying his signature line, sorry Wadukana, because that would have meant that, okay, Yusaku's going to change this, and then we obviously know from the preview that he's definitely changed it, rather than them implying that he's going to lose, but then in the preview showing he's not going to lose. It's just a little thing I wanted to say, like, it's not too much of a big deal. So thank you guys for watching. This has been my review on Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode 14. Overall a very funny and very solid episode. I seriously hope Yusaku does beat Emma. As funny as good as the things she has said, and as much as she's made me laugh in this episode, I still completely hate her for her morals and everything. So definitely Yusaku, we got to get that Firewall Dragon out and we've got to win. Please, he better summon Firewall Dragon in this. Firewall Dragon better not be a card that's reserved for these special duels, because I really want to see Firewall Dragon again. His Tempest attack looks amazing. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks everyone who comments in the comment section down below. And as I normally say, cue epic outro music.